Hey, it's the coach Laurie McNaughton coming to you again with another short video on tips and tricks and ideas and strategies to help you build a profitable business that runs like a well-oiled machine even when you're not there. What I'm going to talk about a subject that is near and dear to, I bet, every one of your hearts, and that is your staff, your people, your team, I like to call them. In the past 18 years, I've done a lot of reading on team building, leadership, communication, and even neuroscience. And I've conducted dozens and dozens of team building workshops and workshops on communication and leadership. And over the time, I've developed what I think is a pretty solid strategy for success in business when it comes to your people. And that is that the idea is it's all about the people. And when I say the people, I don't just mean your staff. I mean the people who work for suppliers and your customers and your community. How does your company serve the greater good, so to speak? And I'm sure that if I asked any one of you, there might be a couple of you out there that might want this, but my thinking is that most, if not all of you, would, if I said, would you want to have your financial statements on your epitaph at your funeral, you'd all go, no, of course not. I believe that great companies that create a lot of success focus in on two things, and those two things bring about a healthy bottom line, and that is to become the provider of choice and the employer of choice. So to become the provider of choice, so when it comes to your products and services, you are seen as the leader or the company that should be dealt with in your target market. And then, of course, to employ or become the employer of choice means that you should have the best people wanting to come to work for you, or your staff encouraging people that they know who are really good to come to work for you. So, and I talk about the people and focusing in on the greater good. Is it good for me? Is it good for the client? Is it good for the team? And does it serve the greater good? When you look at your business from that perspective, it really just changes everything about it. And I believe that your people, your communities, your customers, your suppliers are all as important as your bottom line. And I believe, and the companies that I've worked with who have really put attention on this and focus in on this have seen the greatest gains in both top line revenue and bottom line profitability. In fact, it is your team and your customers that creates your bottom line. So let's talk a little bit about how you get the most out of your people here. I've already talked about the importance of having a vision, and I'm just going to reiterate that again because you got to look at it from this perspective. So does your vision speak to the best people out there? Because remember, the best employees have strong goals and desires to move ahead and be the best that they can be and provide for themselves and their families and do all of these things. The best people want to have that. So if they go and they look at your company, they talk to you, they get interviewed by you, and maybe they do a little bit of interviewing themselves. And if they're really good employees and they go, yeah, I don't really see me fulfilling my goals by working with you. So you got to really look at the vision that you've created for your company. What is it that you want to do? And I would always come back to, it's all about the people. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about neuroscience because there's been a lot of very groundbreaking information about neuroscience and its connection to getting the best out of your people. In fact, I studied under Judith Glaser, who wrote a book called Conversational Intelligence, and she talked specifically about how we can, as leaders, put people into survival mode or fight or flight, if you're more familiar with that, or we can put them in a very receptive, creative space where they feel safe to communicate and and rise up and put their hand up and be vulnerable, have the courage to be vulnerable, because it does take courage to be vulnerable, especially for those people that are maybe a little bit on the more introverted side of the scale. But so if you think about it from the perspective, you don't want to do or say things that put people into the survival mode, because what happens is your body releases neurotransmitters like oxytocin, pardon me, not oxytocin, cortisol and adrenaline, and that puts us into survival mode, where your body goes back to really its instincts of survival, and nothing else really matters. And so being able to think clearly isn't as important as it is to either be able to defend yourself or to run as fast as you can. Now, those neurotransmitters over time will wear you down. It will tire the people out. And literally, if people are under this kind of stress day in and day out for long periods of time, it actually breaks down their immune system and can cause them to have autoimmune diseases and any number of different diseases. For those of you who want to do a little bit more research about that, I would check out Joe Dispenza. His book, he's got Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Becoming Supernatural, as well as, it'll come back to me in a second. You Are the Placebo. Great information and understanding how these chemical neurotransmitters work and what they do to you. So the other side of conversations or situations that you put people in that put them into the survival mode is to put them in a creative, safe space where serotonin and dopamine are released, and these are feel-good transmitters. Oxytocin, another one of these feel-good transmitters, chemical transmitters that allows people to feel safe and comfortable to be able to put up their hands and express themselves, when in most cases they would keep their mouth shut. And I want to say this for you guys that conduct your meetings: you need to encourage everybody to get engaged in this, and the best way to do that is to make it a really safe, open place for people to communicate, because oftentimes those introverted people, those people who don't necessarily want to put their hand up and speak, have the best ideas to help you grow your company, cut costs, all of those kinds of things. So take some time. I would highly recommend reading Conversational Intelligence. I'm just trying to think of another book off the top of my head that would be a good read. Well, any of the books about Joe. He's not Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's not specifically talking about team building or anything like that, but you'll get an understanding of how that all works, and how you can literally create the same disempowering activities going on in your business day in and day out by putting people in this stress mode, survival mode, where they are really just thinking about, how do I survive in this situation? So I hope that helps you. I know it will help you if you embrace it. If you do nothing with this information, it won't do anything for you. That's one thing I can guarantee. If you do nothing, nothing happens. So again, it's Laurie McNaughton, the business coach. I hope you appreciated that little business idea strategy to help you get the best out of your people. I know it works. I've seen it work over and over and over and over again. For those people who embrace this idea, and I'll provide more videos coming up over the coming weeks, and on different subjects, and some of them will be related to team, and some of them will be related to marketing, some will be related to sales, some will be related to systems and processes, leadership, communication, the whole ball of wax. So thanks for listening. Have yourself a great day.